Service-centric industries are generally not seen as the ERP industries. And most people, especially if they have been in the ERP world for a long time, they might not see how service-centric industries might be more difficult from the ERP perspective. But if you look at under the hood, then you would know that service-centric industries could be equally complex. And that's why ERP systems that are designed for these industries are uniquely different. So which are the top systems for service-centric industries in 2024? That's what we have discussed in this video. So let's dive in.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our #1 priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients with digital transformation strategy, enterprise technology selection, change management, as well as implementation. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be top 10 ERP systems for service-centric companies in 2024. So before we look at the list, let's define which are the service-centric industries. So #1 criteria for service-centric industries is going to be the companies that don't necessarily sell the product or the physical product as part of their offerings. For example, the product-centric industries are going to be your manufacturing, distribution, retails of the world. When it comes to your service-centric industries, these are going to be industries such as your public sector, not-for-profit, construction, financial services, media, telecom, insurance, energy, utility. All of these industries are going to be bucketed under your service-centric industries. And each of these industries could have very, very, very specific business model. And sometimes it could be very hard to find one system. And sometimes these business models are going to be so unique that it's very hard to find a system for the service-centric industries. In general, the processes, the way they have their business models, they are so unique that they would require ad hoc arrangements to be able to serve these sectors. Even among the service-centric industries, you might have things such as your field service, and sometimes the field service is going to be combined with your product-centric industries, but the field service experience for your service-centric industries are going to be very different. So these are some of the layers that we look at when we are identifying these service-centric industries, and this list is going to be for companies of all sizes. So whether you are going to be startup, mid, or enterprise, this list is for all of that. It is not going to be specific, but we'll be touching on specific points, which systems are going to be applicable for slightly more smaller startups and which systems are going to be slightly more relevant for your large enterprises. The criteria that we use to compile this list is product share, the acquisition strategy. How many logos do they have on the service-centric companies? We are always keeping track of that. Then we are looking at product roadmap. Are they releasing features aligned to specific industries, or that's going to be applicable to all of the industries? The community ecosystem, the community is composed of the service-centric industries. So these are some of the factors that we consider in compiling this list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Acumatica. In Acumatica, when you look at Acumatica solution, it's primarily a product-centric solution, even though they are going to have some of their additions that are going to be slightly more service-centric. So their primary install base is the manufacturing, distribution, retail. That's where they do the large majority of their business. But then you might find Acumatica in construction, field service, all of those verticals as well. But if you look at the pure play service business model, when you are going to have the combinations of business models as part of your service sector, and you are looking for slightly more diverse solution, Acumatica may not be the best fit. They have recently launched their PSA capability. So now they are penetrating a lot more in the service-centric space. So the strength for Acumatica is that it can accommodate many different business models. So for example, let's say if you are a very service-centric company, but you do light manufacturing as part of your business model. It can do that as part of one database that you might not be able to find in other systems. Acumatica is also going to be cloud native, so you are going to find far richer technical capabilities when it comes to your enterprise search or mobility. These features are going to be slightly more robust with Acumatica, but the functional capabilities might not be as rich as some of the other systems that we have on the list. Acumatica is also not very global solution. It has some global capabilities, but for the most part, if you are in North America, this could be a great system, or maybe in the UK or maybe Australia, this could be a great system, but only for the fewer countries. It's not necessarily a global solution. Acumatica, the limitations that you're going to have with Acumatica is that PSA capabilities, they are just released, so they might not be as stable as what you would find with the other systems. In some of these industries, you are going to find the HCM capabilities that need to be embedded with your scheduling workflows, the planning workflows. So those capabilities might not be as embedded as you would find with other systems designed for these processes. So there, Acumatica may not be the best fit, even though you might be able to find some of the add-ons. But again, you are looking at all of those vendor conflicts. They might claim that the experience is very embedded, but when you look at add-ons, you are always going to have upgrade challenges, communication challenges, etc. So the experience is not going to be as immersive as embedded. So that's number 10. Now, number 9 on our list is Sage Intacct. Sage Intacct primarily targets only service-centric verticals. They don't target any of the product-centric verticals. It might be a great system when companies might be utilizing any ERP for the first time. But if you look at the operational capabilities for Sage Intacct, some people might argue that it's probably not an ERP system, even though it is going to have very comprehensive accounting capabilities. It might have some procurement, but it's not going to have a lot. And then it does not even have CRM. So for that, it's going to rely on the best of breed systems, for example, Salesforce. But in general, in these verticals, service-centric verticals, they are probably going to have very best of breed thick CRM, because CRM processes in these industries are going to be as thick as your ERP processes. Sometimes the CRM processes might be thicker because all of the operational capabilities, they reside, the allocation, the inventory even might reside inside your CRM CX layer. Sometimes they might call it as OMS, but for the most part, that layer does the heavy lifting. The role of ERP simply becomes financial reporting. So if that is the purpose of buying an ERP system, then Sage Intacct could be a great fit for you. The strengths for Sage Intacct is you are going to find deep service-centric last mile capabilities. They have a lot of additions. For example, let's say if you look at not-for-profit or financial services, the accounting capabilities are going to be tailored and flavored that you might not be able to find with the other systems. The other strength for Sage Intacct is it is globalized and localized in many countries, over 100 countries. Even NetSuite or Acumatica or Microsoft might not be able to match their breadth overall in terms of the localization and globalization. So if that is the purpose, that you are trying to find integrated financial layer, then Sage Intacct would be a great system, but not necessarily for the operational capabilities. The other strength with Sage Intacct is they have the best of breed integration that is built and maintained by Sage. So for example, let's say Salesforce HR or marketplace integration, some of those are maintained by Sage Intacct. That could be a great plus overall, even though these are going to be third-party systems, but at least the integration is maintained by Sage Intacct. So you are not relying on third-party for those integrations. The limitations that you're going to have for Sage Intacct is that you are going to require a lot of add-ons and you are going to be paying for subscriptions. And sometimes these subscriptions could be far more expensive. For example, let's say if you look at systems such as your Service Titan or Salesforce or marketing automation, all of these systems could be equally expensive, sometimes more expensive than ERP. So you'll be paying a lot more in licenses, integrations, consulting, and even then you might run into challenges in getting that end-to-end traceability, the fundamental premise for which you might want to buy an ERP. So these are some of the considerations that you need to keep in mind. So that's number 9. Now, number 8 on our list is Unit 4. Unit 4 is designed, it's purpose built for some of the verticals. For example, let's say if you look at public sector, not for profit, consulting verticals, Unit 4 does really well, even for some of the enterprise logos, because the amount of functionality, the capabilities that you are going to find as part of the suite, if you have to enable this on top of your vanilla ERP system, sometimes that could be very expensive. So when you look at the needs of the upper mid-market companies or lower enterprise companies, especially if they are not going to have as much maturity internally with integration, or they might not have as deep implementation budget, then this system could be a great fit. But this is going to be a very prescriptive architecture where if you buy everything from Unit 4, then it could be a great system. But if you have to utilize this more in the best of breed settings, then their marketplace ecosystem is not going to be as strong. So the other strength for Unit 4 is the HCM workflows and the indirect procurement that you are going to find is going to be built as part of your Unit 4 system. And sometimes enabling those workflows could be extremely tricky and challenging because the HCM processes need to be intertwined with your planning workflows. And this is only going to be applicable with your service-centric verticals. The PSA capabilities that you have in the service-centric verticals, they are very different from your project manufacturing, even though some project manufacturing-centric systems might argue that, you know what, you can use this for PSA, but PSA requires identifying the individual resource. Typically, the manufacturing systems or the distribution systems, they plan at the group level because they don't need to identify a specific resource. In this particular case, these resources are so expensive that sometimes the company may have just one resource and you need to plan around those, and that's why the service-centric systems are very, very, very different. Indirect procurement is very different. It has very different process workflows. So Unit 4 is really designed for that. Not-for-profit accounting could be very unique as well. Not every ERP system support that. So if you don't have that, then you are probably going to find a lot of challenges with respect to your grant and fund accounting. If you need those capabilities, there are very few systems in the market that can support SAP, Oracle, Microsoft. They will be able to support. Sage Intacct may be able to support. Some may have through your VARs and ISVs, but typically those are not going to be as comprehensive. You have specific pieces of functionality that you require as part of not-for-profit accounting. So Unit 4 is going to have that. Unit 4 is a very enterprise-grade solution. So it's designed for your global enterprise workloads. When you are going to be globally present and you're looking for global synergies, whether from financial perspective, operational perspective, all of that is going to be there as part of Unit 4. The limitations that you are going to run into is that it is the legacy solution. So the look and feel is not going to be as modern as some of the other systems. Even if they were legacy, they may have re-architected, but Unit 4 is still very legacy feeling in general with their product. They also have very limited install base, at least as of today in North America. And if you are going to be a very diverse service-centric company, then you might struggle with the prescriptive model of Unit 4. If you are a pure play, not-for-profit, public sector, then Unit 4 could be a great fit. But if you're going to be slightly more diversified, service-centric business, then you might struggle with Unit 4. So that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is Deltek, and Deltek has very similar positioning as Unit 4. It is going to have very unique system that it is going to have as part of its suite. Some of the databases or the data-centric systems that are going to be unique to your government consulting space and as well as the construction architecture and engineering spaces. In those, wherever you have the government-centric business, Deltek is really strong in those spaces. Overall, the way Deltek is designed is it is going to have very similar design as your Sage Intacct, where you are going to get very deep project management functionality. You might have very industry-centric CPQ functionality. You might have compliance functionality. You might have finance functionality. But overall, when you look at the customer-centric workflows, they might not be as flavored. It might rely on other systems such as your CRM systems that are going to be best of suite in this particular design. So the other strength that you have for Deltek is it is going to have the multi-entity capabilities. So it is designed for global workloads. In these spaces, the number of entities that you are going to have, for example, let's say if you look at energy utility, the number of entities are far more. Even if you are going to be very US or Canadian business, even then you are probably going to have 40, 50 different entities, because generally for these businesses, they are trying to create an entity for each of the project because the project is really big and it's very risky. That's why they do that. So you you are going to require far more multi-entity functionality in terms of collaboration, consolidation, etc. That's where Deltek really shines. The limitations for Deltek is limited focus. So if you are going to be pure play in those industries, Deltek could be a great fit. But if you are trying to expand or trying to diversify your business model, or you are going to be part of holding company or the private equity portfolio, that's where you might run into challenges in supporting all of those business models as part of one ERP system. The ecosystem as well as the consulting base is going to be substantially limited as well. And then you are going to have limited best of breed capabilities that you are going to find with some of the other systems. So that's number 7. Now, number 6 on our list is IFS. And IFS has very unique position, just like any other service-centric ERP system. So it is going to be really strong in that financial layer. It's going to be very strong in the field service layer. It's going to be strong in your asset management layer and the project management, as well as the program management, especially when you look at very, very, very large programs where the kind of correlation that you are going to need between your sales order and projects and programs. And when you have to consolidate all of that, that is designed for very, very, very large programs. When you are building these aircrafts, for those, the workflows are generally very different than if you are going to be building, let's say, machinery for your manufacturing company. So that's where IFS really shines. The strengths for IFS is going to be enterprise grade field service as well as EAM capabilities. And sometimes these capabilities are far stronger than other vanilla ERP systems. And that's why you are going to find IFS in MRO-centric verticals, or you are going to find this in the aerospace-centric verticals. Some of the consulting companies, if they are going to be very strong in the field service, then they will like IFS as well. Other strengths for IFS is compared to your Deltek or Unit 4, the technology is re-architected. So it does not have the same legacy feeling that you are going to find with those systems. The other limitations is that it is going to have limited focus. So when you are looking for slightly more diverse solution, IFS may not be the best fit. The ecosystem is going to be very limited. And then their install base is very limited in North America as well. So that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is SAP S/4HANA. SAP S/4HANA, even though the product model is designed for slightly more product-centric companies, it has the layers for the service-centric companies as well. For example, let's say if you look at the not-for-profit accounting capabilities, all of those are going to be provided by SAP S/4HANA. It might have some other capabilities, but it is not going to have as deep last-mile capabilities that you are going to find with solutions such as your Oracle Cloud ERP, where they are going to have very deep last-mile capabilities for your construction verticals, public sector verticals that you might not find with SAP S/4HANA. So if you are looking for a centralized core, primarily from the ERP perspective, and other layers that you want to use from your third party, then your SAP S/4HANA could be a great fit for the service-centric verticals. The other strength for SAP S/4HANA is that the best of breed capabilities are going to be pre-integrated. The HCM workflows are going to be pre-integrated at least, which is a substantial need overall in the consulting spaces, etc. The capabilities of HANA, because of that, the transaction volume that you are going to have at the enterprise level, that is going to be substantially heavy. And that's why SAP S/4HANA could be a great fit for those Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 workloads. The limitations that you are going to have with SAP S/4HANA, the CRM, as well as some of the membership capabilities that you are going to require as part of your service-centric ERP, they might not be as fluid. SAP is going to be tightly regulated overall from the financial control perspective. That could be important, but in some cases, you don't necessarily require that financial embeddedness. Sometimes you need to move fast, and at that time, financial control is not as critical or important. When you look at public sector workflows, when you are managing the teacher-student workflows, for all of those, these capabilities are not going to be as fluid as you are going to find with the systems that are really designed for those service-centric verticals. The other limitations that you are going to find with SAP S/4HANA, you might get into the adoption challenges. And the reason why you would get into that is because of the tightness of the model. Again, that is designed for slightly more product-centric companies. The service-centric companies require slightly more fluid model. That's where your Microsofts of the world could do far better, or the Oracles of the world could do far better in enabling those fluid workflows as part of their model. Now, this is going to be overwhelming for smaller organizations. For the most part, this is a very enterprise grade solution. So that's number 5. Now, number 4 on our list is Oracle Cloud ERP. And Oracle Cloud ERP has very similar market segment as your SAP S/4HANA. The real difference is it is going to have last mile capabilities for your construction, public sector. It does really well in those spaces. It wins a lot, and the model is going to be slightly more fluid than your SAP S/4HANA. And for service-centric industries, that is a need because these workflows are going to be so fluid, so unique that you require those capabilities. And even though the model is going to be fluid, but it is not going to be as easy for companies. You would still require the consulting help to be able to enable all of those workflows on top of Oracle Cloud ERP. So when you are looking at the service companies that are going to be very diverse, global, large, they are probably publicly traded, for those Oracle Cloud ERP could be a great fit. The other strengths for Oracle Cloud ERP is that you are going to have all of those needs that you typically require for service-centric verticals, which is going to be your not-for-profit accounting. Whether you are looking for HCM embedded workflows, when HCM is going to be used as part of your project planning, etc., for those, Oracle Cloud ERP is a great fit. The PSA, the indirect procurement, all of those capabilities. The CPQ is going to be geared more towards service-centric verticals. So that's why Oracle Cloud ERP is slightly stronger for the large enterprises in the service-centric spaces. The limitations that you are going to find even with Oracle Cloud ERP, when you get into those custom CRM workflows, especially if they are going to be slightly more workflow automation centric, that's where Oracle Cloud ERP may require a lot more consulting help. They might not have those workflows built as part of their solution. The limited best of breed pre-built integrated options that you are going to find, for example, let's say if you compare this with Unit 4, they might have far more as part of their suite than what you're going to find with Oracle Cloud ERP. And it's going to be overwhelming for smaller organizations. For the most part, it is really designed for those large companies. So that's number 4. Number 3 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is a great fit for service-centric companies. Number 1, the reason why it is such a great fit is because it is going to have all of those ERP layers, especially for the global install base. The project module is going to be far more friendlier for your service-centric verticals than for your product-centric verticals. The inventory is sufficient enough. If you are going to have distribution and retail-centric flavors as part of your service-centric business model, it can do all of that. For construction-centric industries as well, it is probably going to be sufficient. For the most part, when you look at the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, especially if you look at things such as your Power Automate or Power Workflows, those are going to be extremely handy for your service-centric verticals when they are going to require enabling these ad hoc workflows. So that's where Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is a great fit for service-centric companies. The strengths for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. Number 1, the not-for-profit accounting is included as part of Microsoft. It is provided by Microsoft. So that's a huge assurance, especially if you're going to be in the not-for-profit space. Some of these service verticals also have constraints, such as keeping their data in a specific country or jurisdiction. So that's a huge plus for Microsoft. Marketplace and ecosystem for your diversified business models that you are going to have as part of your service-centric verticals, you are going to find a lot more options in the Microsoft ecosystem. The limitations that you are going to run into with Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, if you're looking for financial traceability, SOX compliance, audit-ready system, sure, it is going to have the capabilities, but it is not going to be as robust as when you look at some of the larger systems that are really designed for those workflows. For example, SAP S/4HANA or Oracle Cloud ERP. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central may not be the best fit for that. In general, the way their ecosystem is, the way the product is designed, it's very, very, very technical in nature, and the ecosystem has very limited business consulting expertise, and that's why we see a lot more challenges with the implementation in general in the Microsoft ecosystem, because you have a lot more add-ons in general. So that's why the business consulting expertise, you might want to hire companies such as your independent ERP consultants. They might be able to fill that gap for you. Then you have the limited Microsoft support available from the Microsoft. So for the most part, the VARs, the ISVs, they are on their own. The way Microsoft channel is established, it's very tricky to navigate in general. Sometimes it's very hard to find out who owns the license, who has control in the process, just because there might be many layers and chain of custody as part of the contracting. So you just require far more due diligence when you are dealing with Microsoft channel. Having said that, that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO. And FNO is a much bigger system compared to your BC system from Microsoft. So this is designed for your upper mid-market, lower enterprise-centric verticals. So it is going to have far deeper capabilities operationally. So you would not require as many add-ons that you would need with your business central systems. For the most part, when you look at the core capabilities of Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO, it is going to be really strong in those project-centric capabilities for the consulting firms, or when you are going to be not-for-profit, it is going to have all of those. It is going to have the HCM workflows embedded as part of the data model. So that's going to be a huge plus. The strengths for Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO is that it is going to have all of those enterprise-grade capabilities. When you look at more from the functional perspective, it might not be proven in those enterprises as of today because of the workload, the transactional workload that you're going to have, but at least the capabilities are going to be very deep in general. Now, the not-for-profit package is included. The data center options are going to be available in many different locations. So at least you don't have those problems. The limitations with Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO is not the best fit for publicly traded organization. They have very different need overall from the compliance perspective. The way Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO is designed, it's very technical perspective. The ecosystem is very technical. So the layers that you have are not as finance friendly, business friendly. So that's where Microsoft may not be the best fit. The CRM data model might not be as fluid, even though you have one of the best CRM with Microsoft, but the data model, the way it is designed, it's very tightly integrated, tightly coupled. Some of the other CRMs that you have in the market, Salesforce, HubSpot, they are designed for slightly fluid processes. And with sales processes, sometimes you need to be fluid with those processes. But again, if you're looking for very parent-child-centric, ERP-centric capabilities inside your CRM workflows, then Microsoft CRM may be a superior fit. But for the most part, sales and marketing teams, they don't necessarily like those capabilities. So that's why they might not appreciate the tightness of the Microsoft CRM, and it could be overwhelming for a smaller organization. So that's number 2. Now, number 1 on our list is NetSuite. NetSuite is a very similar system as your Microsoft. It is going to have a lot more global capabilities. It is going to have a lot more financial capabilities. The marketplace ecosystem is going to be very strong as well in finding many different options. So for the most part, when you are going to be very diverse, service-centric industry, then NetSuite could be a great fit. NetSuite provides your not-for-profit package. You are going to have all of that for media, energy, utility. All of those companies are using NetSuite. It has been proven in those spaces. It is going to have all of the layers that those companies are going to require. The strengths with NetSuite is it is packaged with your fund and ground accounting capabilities. The market and ecosystem is very strong and ideal for global companies growing through M&A, especially when you are looking for one system that can accommodate many different business models. That's when NetSuite is a great fit. The limitations that you are going to get with NetSuite is the operational depth might not be as much as with systems such as your Deltek or Unit 4. They are going to have far deeper operational capabilities for these micro verticals. They are going to have integrations that are going to be owned by those OEMs that you are not going to find with NetSuite. And for example, if you compare this with Sage Intacct, they own the Salesforce integration. So if you are using NetSuite CRM, then NetSuite could be a great fit. But if you are using this with your Salesforce or HubSpot of the world, then the experience might not be as intuitive, as immersive as you are going to find with Sage Intacct, as well as it's not really designed for very large service-centric organizations. So if you're going to be up to $1 billion, then it might be okay. But anything over that, NetSuite may not be the best system. So that's number one. Now, if you enjoyed this video, we are going to include a link of a detailed article. So you might want to check that. This podcast is also available in audio form on Apple, Spotify, and Google. So you might want to check there and subscribe if you like. These videos are released on a weekly basis. So if you don't want to miss them, you might want to hit the subscribe button. Also, if you have not checked our digital transformation report, we are going to include the link of that as well. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.